To be completely honest, there are a lot of paths we can go down to set up this video. What we're about to talk about is arguably the greatest story in baseball history. And as it comes close to its 70th anniversary, it has, like they say, aged like fine wine. We should have made a video on this years ago. This is Eddie Gaedel. He played for the St. Louis Browns in 1951. Yes, there was a baseball team called the Browns. They are now known as the Baltimore Orioles. That's not the main part of the story though. This is. Eddie Gaedel was 3 feet 7 inches tall, and he played in the big leagues. You need to know how and why, because chances are you don't know the full story, and it's wild. In 1950, the Browns went 58-96. In 1949, they went 53-101. They were in the middle of even more losing in 1951. Earlier in the year, they signed Satchel Paige, and given that he was in his age 44 season when they picked him up, he did pretty well in his 3 years there. But that signing was indicative of the team owner Bill Veeck's personality. Bill Veeck loved a good promotion, or just something wacky to bring his team's attention. This is the same man behind Disco Demolition Night. He also tried to kick the Cardinals out of St. Louis. He legitimately tried to pull a "this town ain't big enough for the two of us" in Major League Baseball. As has been the case with a few videos we've done, there's no actual footage of this, but we'll improvise. The Browns had a doubleheader against the Tigers on August 19th, 1951. There was a celebration planned to honor the 50th anniversary of the American League. In between games, a giant papier-mâché cake was wheeled out onto the field, and Eddie Gaedel burst out of it. People thought that was going to be the extent of the fun Bill Veeck had planned, until Eddie Gaedel pinch hit for the Browns in the bottom of the first inning. This was such a surprise that the players didn't even know about this in advance. The crowd went nuts. Eddie Gaedel had been paid $100 in advance for his services. In 2020, that's the same as about $992. For the performance he was about to give, Eddie was very underpaid. As Eddie Gaedel strolled up to the plate, the Tigers catcher went up to the mound to strategize how to pitch to a man the LA Times once described as having the strike zone the size of a flashlight battery. His advice to pitcher Bob Kane? Keep it low. Good one. In the midst of this, the umpires desperately tried to put a stop to this, but the Browns planned ahead. They had his fresh new contract and proof that he had been added to the roster, which went right under everyone's noses. Probably a facepalm to the people who noticed a guy wearing number 1/8 and they didn't realize it earlier. There was nothing the umpires could do but let Eddie Gaedel bat, and on 4 pitches, he walked. Eddie Gaedel was laughing as hard as anyone in the stadium by the 3rd pitch. Eddie got to first, was pulled for a pinch runner, and left to an incredible ovation. That would be the last time Eddie Gaedel would play in a Major League Baseball game. The American League was really upset about this. They voided his contract, and they basically banned Eddie Gaedel from playing again. Bill Veeck's response? Saying it was only fair to suspend Phil Rizzuto if the league was going to discriminate against short people. Phil Rizzuto was the most recent AL MVP at the time, and he was 5'6". The same height as Jose Altuve, to put it into perspective for you. The metaphorical full-court shot did not go in. So any team owners in 2020 looking to keep Jose Altuve from hitting against their teams that way don't have precedent on their side. And that was it. The official end of Eddie Gaedel's baseball career. Let's quickly look at it with a more proper analytical mindset. In a world where walks have become an increasingly valued stat for a hitter, Eddie would fit right in 2020. His career on-base percentage was 1,000, tied for the all-time record, the highest OBP possible. We don't know exactly how many there are tied with him, but that's a statistically legendary control of the strike zone. The way hitters can develop a better plate discipline is an interesting topic as well. We don't always know what makes a hitter master the strike zone the way great hitters do. We know how Eddie Gaedel became such a patient hitter though. Bill Veeck had told Eddie Gaedel that if he swung the bat at all, he would assassinate him. This legitimately happened. To future hitting coaches, managers, GMs, or owners, please don't try this at home. Thankfully, this was not the last time Eddie Gaedel could be found at a Major League Baseball game. Bill Veeck went on to later own the White Sox, and there are 2 noteworthy times that he brought Eddie Gaedel back, but not as a player. so he never did swing a bat as a baseball player. In 1959, Eddie and 3 other people of similar heights were hired in a fake alien abduction sketch where they went on the field and pretended to kidnap the White Sox second baseman and shortstop while dressed as Martians. The White Sox went to the World Series that year as the only team to ever stage an on-field Martian abduction of their players.
Coincidence? I think not!
And finally, Bill Veeck hired Eddie as an usher at the stadium, because of complaints that the ushers were too tall blocking the fans. Of course. Eddie would tragically die of injuries sustained in a fight in 1961 at the age of 36. The pitcher from his plate appearance was the only baseball-related person at his funeral, making a 300-plus mile trip to come. That same pitcher would also honor Eddie Gaedel with his annual Christmas card every year until he passed away as well. As much as the executives of the American League hated Eddie Gaedel playing in a game, he made an impact. He is, technically speaking, an MLB record holder by getting on base in 100% of his at-bats. His connection with Bill Veeck was, in a word, legendary. And with how much baseball has changed in favor of his greatest strength, Eddie Gaedel, the baseball player, fits right in with today's stars. On that note, may Eddie Gaedel rest in peace as the most efficient walker who ever lived. Thank you guys for watching. We really hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, subscribing, or joining as a member for extra perks. And yeah, that's about it. See you later. Hope you have a nice day. Thanks.